My name is Michelle Tolmoff. I'm from Torrington. My husband will be speaking 10 people after me, and so you'll hear the story. So I'm just going to give the 10,000-foot overview of changes that I see from being here today. I have my written testimony there, so you can read that, but I'm not going to read that. I took notes from today, just from what I heard. I just want to start off with I am an adult child of parental alienation. My parents were divorced, and I have a younger sister, and she has no relationship with my dad. And she struggles with alcoholism. I struggle with worry and stress and anxiety from it. And I just want to say that it's a disgrace the way the court system here in Connecticut is handling these cases with custody and visitation with children. So not only did I have to grow up being alienated and live with the guilt of the way that I treated one of my parents and feel like that I have this big gap in time and space with my parent, but now I have to watch my husband go through it too. So for some reason I was put on this planet to just see it from all angles. That has, for me, I've found a coping mechanism is therapeutic for me to help others. So I work in a support group of other people that have been violated by the court system here in Connecticut. So I hear lots of stories. Today we're hearing a lot of stories of people that are in court. One thing that I would like to point out are there are many people that, as much as they want to see their child or have access to their child after divorce, and they have a parenting plan, and the parenting plan is getting, it's not being enforced, and the other parent isn't bringing the child for visitation, these parents are going into court to fight because they hear the horror stories. So they're afraid to go into court. So there's a big misrepresentation in the audience, I think, today of that population of people that just aren't in the court system, so they've just heard bad things about it. And there has been news recently, and in one of the articles it said that there was a few critics of the GAL system, and I think that it's a lot more than a few critics, as you could see from the turnout today. There is a big movie documentary coming out tomorrow called Divorce Corp. So this is a real issue. This isn't just a few parents that didn't get their way in court. This is a bunch of parents are disgraced and their children are suffering. I suffered. The biggest areas of time that I see with the court system is the length of time of the cases, the cost of the cases, the lack of enforcement and accountability. Nothing is in writing. Family services is a joke because you go into mediation in a room and it's not on the record, and so anything that says there gets spun into a different light. Roles and expectations are not laid out, so then you end up with GALs on cases forever and ever. The Judiciary Review Committee is a joke. The judge on our case is absolutely horrible. And 112 complaints were filed on judges in 2012. 112 cases were dismissed. 2011, 84 cases were filed against judges. 84 cases were dismissed. We're being laughed out of our complaints and our grievances. We filed a grievance with the Grievance Committee, which Sue sits on. And when in my written testament here, I did say that I don't feel that the co-chair and the chair should both be there. It's not anything against them. I just feel that each of them represents the top 10 GALs here in Connecticut. They have a lot of cases under their charge, and I just feel like maybe one of them could have been in the chair and then somebody else could have been the co-chair. I feel like having somebody that practices that much in the GAL capacity, and that's where we're having the major issues, maybe should have not been the leaders, because originally they did not want GAL fees to be investigated. And today I heard everybody come in and announce their fees on the record, which was great because there was an email that went out to GALs asking for that information, and that was suppressed and poo-pooed. They didn't want that looked at. So that is my reason for it, and it's not a personal attack on you. I just feel there's conflict. Sue sits on the Grievance Committee, and people are asking to have these GALs taken off cases, and they're getting denied. And it's a conflict of interest. It's simply what it is. It's nothing personal. So that's really what my testimony is today. My husband's story is much more personal. We haven't seen my stepson in 5 years. Him and I have been married for 7 years. We have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. And we've spent over $50,000, and we're close to losing our house. And my 6-year-old desperately misses his 13-year-old brother. And they have no contact to each other because the court system is just so broken. We've had evaluations and therapist sessions, and they all say that we should have visitation, but nobody's enforcing it. And the judge keeps saying, we'll put this on hold, we'll let the summer go past, or Dad pays for everything if he wants to see his son, because Mom will never pay, so the evaluation will never get done. So even though Mom, in this case, in their marriage, was earning more and still earns more, he pays 100% of everything. So that leaves me having to work full-time and provide for a family.
Thank you very much. I have your written testimony, and I just think that I just want to set the record straight. You say on a couple of occasions that I have 212 cases. I just looked at the website, and if I have
You have
between
two numbers.
If I know, and if I have between 20 and 25 active cases at this point, I would be surprised. A lot of those cases are extremely old and not active anymore. So I don't think I have. If I have 212 cases, it's over probably a 10-year period.
Okay, but under your juris number, I do see 212 cases, and then for Sharon, there's 112. Our GAL has 216 Robert Zazzles was here.
I've been practicing law for 30 years.
Well, they're not 30-year-old cases
no,
either.
but they probably go back to the 90s when the computer system started.
Updated then, so that way the public
it doesn't
has
show that
transparency
it doesn't
on how
mean
many
they're
cases
active.
you really have.
I agree that the system probably does need to be upgraded because they don't ever go. Those appearances just don't go away. They sit there.
Mm-hmm.
So
well,
yeah.
you could withdraw from the appearance too. If you're no longer the GAL in the case.
I don't think that I don't think we're allowed to withdraw. The court does that, but the appearance stays even when parties withdraw. Sometimes it's a antiquated system that judicial sometimes uses. So thank you very much. Okay, and yes, Mr. Weissmuller.
As a task force, we've looked at that system that you're talking about, and we found that we couldn't get answers from it. Just to explain that, it's something I think they're updating.
Yeah.
So, you had mentioned the judge's behavior, and I was graded on judicial comportment. That was something that I didn't know what it meant first time I saw it, but it's mannerism on the bench, how you behave, how you interact with people, and so on. I've been given a lot of transcripts. I haven't seen them come through the LDCC email, but I've been getting them. You said that I think you said that the judge was a joke or something like that.
Well, he said that he was just reappointed for another 8 years, and he plans on seeing our family for the next 8 years. We go into court about monthly, and he refuses to do a trial, refuses to create orders, and he offered to take my stepson to a basketball game when the summer ended to hang out with him instead. And meanwhile, we're fighting just to get visitation, and the judge is going to hang out with my stepson. And we have all the transcripts, of course, another fee that you have to pay to get all this evidence. And we've considered going to the Judiciary Review Committee, but it's disheartening when you see the statistics that you're not going to get listened to, and it's time consuming. I've got 2 children and work full time, and we're in court, so do I want to spend all that time just to get denied and get nowhere?
Right, we're not technically making recommendations to the judiciary, and we're making them obviously to the legislature.
Well, the judge is for the best interest of the child, and this judge is not fast-tracking this case by any means.
Right, and we've looked at fast track, and I'm glad to hear that people are using the catchphrase because it's not used in Connecticut until recently, and I hope we have something to do with that. But the rules, the canons for judicial conduct are clear on what's ethical, what's not ethical, and there is certainly one that if you know, the record looks as though you're mocking the people in front of you who are there on really the most important matter of their lives, it's probably worth approaching the people who do review judicial conduct, and obviously I think it's only once every 6 and 8 years that the judges come up for public review, but that if you have those transcripts, I think it's important to read those words to the Judicial Committee when they're considering reappointment, because if you have someone who appears to be very callous in their response to such an important issue, perhaps they shouldn't be on the bench.
They were just reappointed for 8 years, and apparently we're going to be stuck with him for the next 8 years, and
perhaps the canons can be amended at some point to demonstrate that judicial comportment is essential to the appearance of propriety on the bench in Connecticut, like it is in other jurisdictions.
That would be nice. That would be nice. Thank you. Thank you.